Everyone has their own idea of what the worst map in Call of Duty history is, and I'm sure you all have your own guess as to what map we're going to talk about in this video, but I want to do something different today. Today, we're not going to do a list or a countdown or anything like that. Today, I want to focus on one map from COD history that I think is the absolute undisputed worst place that this franchise has ever asked you and me to play 6v6 multiplayer on. Now, there's a lot of things that can make a map good or bad, and sometimes everything comes together in an awesome or not awesome way. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. Something a little different today. So if you want to see more map deep dives like this, or even weapon deep dives in the future, you let me know. Let me know what other maps or weapons you'd like to see. We're going to be talking about what I think is the single worst map in COD history, which is, here's the drum roll, Piccadilly from Modern Warfare 2019. So you let me know in the comments what you think the worst map in COD history is. Assuming you don't agree with me here on this video, drop a like if you like this new type of video. And we start off with Section 1. The background. So Piccadilly was one of the launch maps in Modern Warfare 2019. It was basically the poster child for Infinity Ward's new design philosophy for the game. The team said several times during development they not only wanted this game to feel more realistic than anything that came before it, but they also wanted to make sure that less skilled players could be successful thanks to things like quicker time to kill, louder footsteps, and the inclusion of safe spaces around the map. I'm not making that up. Piccadilly is based on the real-world Piccadilly Circus in London's West End, which was all built all the way back in 1819 and has remained a massive tourist attraction ever since, kind of like Times Square in New York. But when you're walking around the Piccadilly map in Modern Warfare, the attention to detail, it's amazing. It's stunning. Infinity Ward deserves all the props in the world for recreating this real-world location and making it so true to life. But that is kind of the problem. I know a lot of us probably grew up thinking about how awesome it would be to copy-paste a real-world location into a video game, but unfortunately, this map is proof that just because it's iconic in real life doesn't mean that translates well to a fast-paced video game. Which brings me to Section 2. Lighting. The most obvious problem with Piccadilly is the lighting. Don't get me wrong. It's realistic with the way it's lit up, but that's the problem. It takes place at night, so there's not a whole lot of natural lighting coming from above, meaning all the lighting on the map comes from things like street lights and buildings, which is how real-world lighting works. But it also makes it very inconsistent. Certain sections of the map are extremely bright. Others are completely dark, which can make it really annoying to keep track of enemy players from a distance. Those safe spaces for Timmy. The lighting on this map is also harsh in certain sections, mainly around the middle of the map and around the second-story windows, which I guess was meant to simulate the way the real-world Piccadilly Circus is lit up at night. But in the video game, that's harsh lighting. Can make it annoying to shoot back at people because of the potential glare around your targets. But the main reason why the lighting on this map is so bad is because of the shadows that it causes. Certain sections of the map are extremely difficult to fight on because the harsh contrast between the bright lights and the lack of natural lighting makes enemy character models very hard to see because they blend into the shadows of the map itself. Now, it's not very hard to hide in plain sight on certain parts of the map because at first glance, you literally can't see people standing in the shadows. When the lights are so bright but the shadows are so dark, it makes it way harder than it should be to notice people standing right in front of you, and it makes the map feel super inconsistent. Honestly think this map, if it took place during the day, wouldn't be nearly as bad. It'd still be a bad map, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it would be the worst map in COD history. Now, we move on to Section 3. Density. The second major issue with Piccadilly is the density of the layout. And by that, I mean the various set pieces are very close to each other, like the middle area with the buses and the various indoor sections by the scaffolding, while other sections of the map seem really open and clear, like the fountain in the middle of the map and the two streaks on the opposite side of the scaffolding. It's totally normal for a Call of Duty map to have certain sections be crowded and other sections be more open, but the way Piccadilly does it, it's completely unbalanced. 1 minute you'll be up in people's faces every 5 seconds because the various set pieces are funneling you to them, but the next minute you'll be out in the open with no cover, at which point you'll get blasted before you can possibly react. The density of the map also doesn't do great things to the spawn engine, which frequently gets confused and gets you killed immediately. If you spawn on the more densely packed side of the map, the side with the scaffolding, then you'll have a few seconds to get your bearings together and safely relocate to wherever you're trying to go. But if you spawn on the other side of the map, you'll have to cross one of 2 wide open roads to get anywhere, or you'll have to duck inside one of the buildings which have brightly lit windows and makes you an obvious target to someone who may be looking in your direction. The density of this map is completely inconsistent, and it causes a ton of balancing issues, especially in objective modes like Domination, where the enemy team can more or less force you to spawn on one side or the other. Now, since we're talking about Dom, I do want to give a little shout out to how bad the flag placement is on this map. If you look at the overhead map where everything is, you should immediately notice a huge problem. The B flag is right in the middle of the map, which makes sense, but look at A and C. The A flag is tucked away in the very back corner of the map behind the scaffolding, but the C flag is right out in the open for some reason. Why does the A flag have such better protection than the C flag? As you can see, the map density causes problems here, and it absolutely destroys the map flow. That's a pretty great way to transition into the next section. Section 4, power positions. Every Call of Duty map has power positions. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would argue that power positions make Call of Duty maps great. Firing range wouldn't be the same without the sniper tower in the middle of the map. Nuketown wouldn't be the same without the Jeep in the middle of the street or the 2 second-story windows. But on Piccadilly, the problem with the power positions is the fact they're completely one-sided and they're almost impossible to counter. Take a look at this overhead map again. The main 2 power positions on this map are the scaffolds and the top of the sports store, both of which are on the A side of the map in domination, which is a huge problem in itself. No map should have the main power position be on the same side of the map because that basically means whatever team spawns A, they automatically win. Before you say, but Jimmy, the sports store is in the middle of the map and either team can take it, you're wrong. While it technically is in the middle of the map, and while the C spawning team could technically get it first, it brings us back to what I said a minute ago about the A and C flags not actually being mirror images of each other. The team that spawns on the A flag gets the scaffolds, which not only gives you better coverage of the map as a whole and a better look at B flag, but the scaffolds also give you a straight line of sight right into the sports store, so a half-decent player will just kill an enemy player rushing the sports store and allow one of their teammates to claim it instead, by which point they probably would have grabbed the B flag. And at that point, the game is over, because the team that spawned on the A flag now has control of both major power positions and the B flag, all while the team that spawned on the C flag is stuck in this horrible corner of the map where there's no cover after you spawn. It also didn't help that these power positions were way too easy to lock down by yourself, making them almost impossible to flip if you were playing against a half-decent team. The sports store, for example, one staircase up that you could easily cover with a claymore or a bouncing Betty or just hearing the enemy player loudly stomping up the stairs. The scaffolding, a little more exposed, but again, only had one way up, so it's easy to keep covered. I honestly think this map would have played better in a game like Advanced Warfare. Maybe Black Ops 3, where enemy players could just boost jump through the second-story window to flush out the campers. A general rule with COD power positions is that there is only going to be one way up and only one way down. The power position needs to be a bit easier to counter. Think of the second-story window in Nuketown. Those are super power positions, but they're also easy to counter by just going across the street to the other window or climbing up the side of the balcony and charging the sniper or running up the stairs in the backyard or running up the stairs in the house. Now think about the sniper tower on firing range. Extremely powerful spot, but also extremely difficult to make it all the way to the top of the ladder in one piece, and if somebody gets a grenade up to the hut, it's game over because there's no escape from the explosion. Compare that to power positions on Piccadilly. They're way too easy to lock down by yourself, and there really isn't any good way to counter them, especially if one team controls them both, which again, isn't hard to do. So here we have a map where the lighting is terrible, access to cover is inconsistent, and the 2 main power positions are both easily captured by whichever team happened to spawn on the A flag side of the map. And believe it or not, there's still one more section I need to talk about. Section 5, the final section. Unused space. A lot of maps in Modern Warfare 2019 had this weird obsession with putting a bunch of unused space around the battlefield. By what I mean here is maps with a whole bunch of playable space that never got used because there's no reason to go to them. Let's take another look at this overhead map. How many times did you actually go here? Or here? Or maybe here? These sections of the map were fully playable, and yet you were never actually going there because there was no reason to, and that may not seem like a big problem, but it seriously messed with Modern Warfare spawn logic. The game would sometimes spawn you near these empty spaces because it was the safest place to put you. But then since there's no reason to stay in these spaces, you would have to spend the next 20 seconds running back into the battle, at which point you would get shot in the head, do it all over again if the spawn engine decided to shoot you back to the same starting point, which it often did. It's also the main reason why spawning near the C flag was such a death sentence. There was so much unused space behind the C flag that you would constantly get spawned there, but still all the power positions were in front of the C flag and there was barely any cover, and you would have to immediately start dodging sniper bullets once you spawned in. Black Ops Cold War maps had the same problem, but Treyarch actually fixed them by doing the strike variants and condensing that play area to make things more fast-paced and keep that spawn engine from getting confused. Modern Warfare's maps, they never got that love. And to this day, Piccadilly's abundance of unused space continues to screw with the game flow. Now the conclusion. Piccadilly is a map so bad that even the Infinity Ward developers did not want to play on it. I can really respect the amount of work that went into recreating a real-world location like this, and I'll never deny the fact that the map looks incredible. The fact that this map looks this good on consoles that came out in 2013 is honestly amazing. But if we're talking about these maps as gameplay experiences, which should be the most important thing, it's truly terrible. There have been a lot of bad maps throughout the years. But if you ask me, Piccadilly is as bad as it gets. If you want to see breakdowns like this of other maps or even full games or weapons, you let me know in the comment section. I'll see you soon.